Thank you, Mr. President. I enjoyed the prior speakers. Enjoyed what they said. Don't necessarily agree with them, but I enjoyed it. And there's plenty of blame to go around. We can go back to the fact that the majority party has been in charge for 4 years, and President Bush is no longer in charge. So the Bush this, Bush that, it's old. We need to focus on problem solving today. And one of the prior speakers mentioned that it takes 60 votes for cloture to move things forward. Well, sometimes you have those 60 votes. Other times they're going to be 41. And there's going to be 41 when you're trying to overspend, overtax, overregulate, and really, I feel, making it so businesses can't move forward to create those jobs that were just referenced, that we need to start to focus on jobs. Since I've been here, with all due respect, we haven't done much on jobs at all. And that's a little frustrating, not only for me, but for the American people and the people in Massachusetts. And I'm standing before you today to once again consider legislation to extend the unemployment benefits. And once again, this legislation, as we know, will add approximately $30 billion to our nation's debt, which is currently $13 trillion and rising. And just to put that into perspective, I've been here for about 6 months, and I remember when I first got here, the debt calendar was about $11.95 trillion. Well, it's $13.1 trillion, and give or take, and rising with no end in sight, and I find that deeply troubling. And while it's clear, it appears that you have the votes to advance this measure that will pass the Senate today, I have felt, and I've talked for almost a month now, that there's a better way. And I stand before you to propose an alternative that will be paid for today, fully paid for, by using the bank account and not the credit card. Because rather than putting the cost on that credit card and passing it on to our children and grandchildren, it's the great-grandchildren now that are being affected as well. And while what's not being debated here is the fact that, listen, us on this side of the aisle, we want to help as well, and you do too. It's not a partisan issue. The gentle lady that spoke before me, I agree with her. But no one is disputing of the value also of these programs, not only what it means to the citizens of Massachusetts and across the country that are having a difficult time, but our economy, as you know, is slow. It's showing signs every once in a while of recovering, but it's very slow, and people out of work need extra assistance while they search for that new employment. And what I want to debate is whether or not we continue our spending ways to add to the credit card, to the debt, versus finding ways to pay for it within the money that we have. Because I can tell you, as the ranking member of contracting and looking at the amount of waste that's in federal government, we can find the money to pay for this by using the bank account, not the credit card. I just find it, I'm flabbergasted as to why we don't think outside the box. And some of the speakers before, the Republicans are doing this, the Republicans are doing that. Well, with all due respect, I've made many, many efforts to work across party lines, as you know, Mr. President, and the other members do too. But bipartisanship is a two-way street. You can't tell me that we also don't have good ways and good ideas to finance or find ways to solve these problems. And the American people have made it very clear that they want elected representatives in Congress to start paying for the initiatives that we're trying to push without raising taxes, and start exercising the type of fiscal restraint that they use in their own homes, that they use in their businesses. Last month, as you know, on the larger tax extender legislation, which raised taxes by almost $60 billion and increased the deficit by $33 billion, it was defeated, and I feel rightly so. And Congress must start to listen to the American people and what they're telling us. They're tired of us, of the overspending, the overtaxation, the increasing debt, the overregulation, the involvement in their lives. They just want to be left alone and be able to go to work, pay the bills, take the kids out to a movie, pay for their mortgage, pay for school, and they don't want to have this constant reaching in your pocket. Here, just take your wallet and just give it to them. Just give it to them. Enough. We have to start listening as a body. Forget the party bickering. Forget all that. I'm way past that. But I know that I proposed a fiscally responsible way to pay for everything that we're trying to do today, we can find a funding source without adding to the credit card, to that debt that we all know about and that's rising uncontrollably. We can't keep spending like we're doing. We can't keep spending like we're doing. I know it. Many people in America know it. And it's not the first time that Republicans have come to the floor to offer a path forward on this emergency unemployment insurance that is paid for. We tried 4 times already to do just that, and each and every time it's been opposed. And as I said, my amendment pays for the cost of extending unemployment assistance by rescinding unobligated funds and cutting off other stimulus funds that aren't estimated to be used for years. And we've already seen a lot of the stories about the waste and the kind of the fluff things. Let's get the money out the door right now. Let's put it to work right now. If it's such an emergency, and everything around here is an emergency, if this is an emergency as being said, then let's get the money that's not being used out the door right now. And my amendment actually reduces the deficit by $7 billion instead of increasing it by $34 billion as the present legislation is being proposed to do. And yes, my amendment is about hard choices. And recently, the governors of both parties expressed concerns about how the stimulus funds have been spent and whether the level and the true impact is accurate. States have also weighed in to ask Congress for unextended unemployment benefits and adding additional FMAP funding. And I believe we have a clear choice where we can actually offset the amount of money that we have and get it out the door. Don't have it as the Washington, D.C. slush fund as it's used and looked at out in America. The bill I'm introducing today represents another compromise. Listening to the concerns of so many Americans and their calls to extend emergency unemployment insurance specifically, but also by not burdening our future generations and making sure that we can actually pay for things. Truly pay for things. And as you know, as I mentioned earlier, I've been in Washington for a little over 6 months now. Sometimes, as you might know, it seems like 6 years. And you follow my voting record, as I said, and I voted when I see a good bill, regardless of party, I'll support it. No questions asked. But once again, it's a two-way street. Partisanship is a two-way street, and it needs to come both ways. So, Mr. President, in closing, I would like to move to suspend Rule 22, Paragraph 2, for purpose of proposing and considering my amendment 4492. Thank you, and I yield the rest of my time.